and he sees that I put him on the bottom right away. No one's going to like that, of course. But then he goes on and tweets this. Not even 24 hours, and the tier list has already caused up some drama. Bryce Hall had some not nice things to say about me. Understandable. I put him at the bottom of the list, but before we get into that, I do want to answer some of your comments. I asked for you guys to let me know your thoughts on any changes I should make or anyone that I forgot. First, I just want to say thank you so much. The love on the recent videos has been amazing. I've had a lot of fun making YouTube videos. I haven't been this active, I think, ever. I've just been cranking out videos, even editing, staying up late, having a good time with it, being back out there in the YouTube scene, interacting with the fans, seeing the fighting, and just seeing the whole energy of this community that's been around for a couple years now. Lots of craziness, a lot of cringiness, but for the most part, it's way more positive than negative. Number one of the things I saw the most of was that KSI shouldn't have been on the top of the list. Shouldn't have been in champions. You guys were saying he wasn't active enough. But here's the thing. If you want to be on the top of YouTube boxing, KSI is a guy to beat. He has not lost. He beat Joe, which started this whole thing, tied Logan. A lot of people thought that Logan was going to win, so he was the underdog. Then in the second fight, Logan looked bigger, stronger, faster, all those things. Yes, there was the controversial, 2-point deduction, but he pulled out the win in the US. Amazing. Then Logan goes on to fight Floyd Mayweather. JJ still has that win on his resume. So in this YouTube scene, opponents matter. Even Jake, to me, hasn't fought anyone at Logan's level. Yes, there's Woodley. In boxing, height and reach plays a big factor in strategy in the way that you have to fight. Yes, Woodley has a lot more experience than Logan, etc. But I think that Logan does the same thing to Ben Askren and to Tyron Woodley. And I'm not even sure that if Jake and Logan fought, that Jake would win. Based off what I've seen and heard from their sparring, it seems like Logan has got the better of them in sparring. KSI is going to have a fight coming up. Obviously, after that, then we can decide. When someone was at the top at once, it's hard to take him off when he still plans to fight. And it's not like these guys are active fighters. JJ's been doing music. It's YouTube boxing, right? So you can't be like, well, you got to be more active, right? There are fighters like the best of the best in the world that take a year to 2 years off that won't even see the ring or a cage, and they'll come back to title fights. So if you see that combat sports when that's their profession, this is YouTube boxing. Now, the second topic was the same thing, but for Logan, saying that I put him in champions and he hasn't won a fight. That is true. He hasn't won a fight, but man, his competition has been the guy who also hasn't lost in KSI. Nobody's beat him. And then he's also fought Floyd Mayweather. Nobody's beat him either. For me, it's the Floyd Mayweather fight that puts it over the top. If he did not fight Floyd and that never happened, then I would put him in contender. But the loss to Floyd wasn't even a loss. There was no declared victory. The only way, in my opinion, that Logan was going to walk away with an L is if he got knocked out or completely embarrassed. To me, Floyd was the one who got embarrassed because he wasn't able to do what he said he was going to do. And I felt like it was a win-win going in for Logan as long as he didn't get knocked out. Landed some real punches in an actual fight. Yes, he looked a little crazy at times, but that feat, that experience is right up there with KSI pulling out a win against him and with Jake Paul knocking out Woodley and Ben Askren. No other YouTube boxer has been able to do anything or even come close to doing that just yet. So I do hear you guys on both of those topics, but I'm not budging. Both of those guys have to stay in the champion level. Now, another thing I saw was about Salt Poppy and that he should be higher. And I agree. I responded to a couple of you guys based on skill. He should be because he clearly demonstrates a lot of skill, but I wasn't basing this video off of skill. You guys did request that quite a bit in the comments, so I think I've been thinking of wanting to do one like that. I think I want to do it like a pound for pound list of just pure skill, not guys who can beat another guy. So for example, if it's like a giant weight class difference and they'll never fight, I may put that person number one. And a tier list is quite general because you have those categories. I think it's better if I just go pound for pound in a numbered order, like top 15, who's the best skill for skill. Let me know if you want me to make a pound for pound list because it will look definitely different than the list I just made. But Salt Poppy's performance was great, but it comes down to who was his opponent, but there wasn't like that TKO or that KO finish. And I think if he was able to get the finish or like a big knockout, then that makes a statement. The knockouts are what make the statements. Jake wins against Tyron Woodley, it's one thing. He knocks him out like he did, flatlined him, break the internet. Now, people I forgot. One that I saw repeated in the comments was DDG. And to be honest, I just forgot. I haven't seen his name in the mix when it comes to potential fights. You know, he's similar weight class to a lot of the guys who are in this YouTube boxing community, and I haven't heard anything, so I'm not sure if he's planning to fight. I would love to see him compete against. I feel like there's a lot of guys, Jarvis, Adam Saleh, Gibb. Also, there was someone that nobody mentioned, but I had realized that I forgot about, was Money Kicks. Do you think he should have been in this list? I feel like he should have been because he was the main card, and with his notoriety, I think if he competes with somebody from this YouTube community like Jarvis, that was potentially supposed to happen. I feel like if that happens, he gets right in there in the mix, whether he wins or loses. He can kind of push himself into this YouTube boxing network. I feel like he'd be like a perfect character to add to all the characters that we already have. All right, so I said this about Bryce Hall. Next, we got Bryce Hall, right? He lost to Austin McBroom. I was thinking of putting him middle of the pack, but he's got to be end of the road along with Deji. Even though he's only fought once, he lost via TKO. I'm only putting him in here
and
because
then Keemstar had tweeted out the video and talking about how I put Bryce and Deji at the bottom of the list and that they're going to be potentially fighting. And Bryce did not like that. And to be fair, I get it, right? He sees the tweet. He just sees a picture of the tier list. Y'all clearly don't watch the video. And he sees that I put him on the bottom right away. No one's going to like that, of course. But then he goes on and tweets this. Jasper had screenshot it and texted it to me. And then he went back and forth with Bryce a little bit. And I had just finished teaching classes. The ironic part, he's like, you're a karate instructor teaching 12-year-olds. I just got finished teaching some 12-year-olds and all of my students. And I'm like, hey, don't hate on my students. Not going to lie, a few of them might give you a run for your money. I was trying to be as objective as possible. And I believe I was. Bryce and Deji and Logan were the only guys that I put on the list that haven't won yet. I've already talked about Logan, and I've already talked about Deji. But with Bryce, he lost one fight, and it was a TKO loss. So it wasn't like it was back and forth. Call it for what it was. It was a bad loss. But because it was against Austin McBroom, and McBroom looked pretty sharp, and he's someone who's a contender, I had to give Bryce some credit and give him an opportunity to keep, fighting and pursuing. And it seems like he wants to fight as well. So he's even said that him and Deji seemed like a good fight. So for me, it didn't make sense to put him above Deji. And though Deji had lost, right, he lost against Jake, but he put up a good fight. And with this list, it was not based off skill. The end of the road category means that you've had some losses or a loss. And if you take another bad loss, that's where it's like, this could be over. You feel like someone's getting to the end of their career. Maybe they've had a pretty bad loss or pretty bad couple losses, and you're like, man, they're fighting again. You hope you don't see them lose again. If they do, even though it was one loss against Austin McBroom, it's probably not as bad as Deji, because Deji obviously had the 3 losses. The guys who have won before and put on good performances, if they take a loss in their next fight, you're not necessarily going to think, man, they should give up. Maybe they had a bad performance, or it was just a bad night. Maybe the other person was just a lot better. Or let's say he gets outclassed in another boxing match. That's when you kind of say, you know what, maybe this is it. He's not there yet, but he's nearing the end of the road. Some people are asking if I would fight Bryce. No, I would not fight Bryce. He's coming off a TKO loss, and we're not in the same weight class. I got no personal issues with Bryce, but man, the profanity was a little unnecessary, bro. I don't know. He went right to it, man. Bryce, bro, you went right to the edge, and I was like, whoa, where is this coming from? I got to blur out like 99% of what was said. You guys can just go to Twitter and see for yourself, but sometimes you guys make it really hard for me to be a YouTuber. But no, I'm just kidding. I love it. I'll see you guys soon. Leave a like and subscribe. Oos.